Kara Whitmore tied her apron with practiced ease as dawn broke over the Sunny Spoon Diner. At 27, she had handled the early shift for 3 years, arriving every day by 5 a.m. to prep for the blue-collar crowd that streamed in by 6. The wages were low, the tips unpredictable, and the manager constantly irritable. But Kara cherished the morning regulars. Construction crews remembered her birthday. Teachers shared tales from their classrooms, and elderly couples split a single breakfast plate. "Order up," called the short-order cook, sliding a plate of eggs and hash browns across the counter. Kara served it with a warm smile, the kind that reached her eyes even before sunrise. Most of the team often asked how she stayed so upbeat in a job that offered so little and demanded so much. On one especially chilly Monday in October, the bell above the door rang precisely at 7 a.m. Kara glanced up to see a tiny figure step in. A girl around 10 years old, wrapped in a faded yellow coat too thin for the season's cold. Her hair was tied into a lopsided ponytail, and she clutched a worn backpack tightly to her chest like a shield. Avoiding everyone's gaze, she slipped into the corner booth farthest from the entrance and sat quietly, her small frame barely visible above the table. Kara approached with a menu. "Morning. Want something to eat?" The girl murmured her choice. "Egg sandwich, please," so softly that Kara had to lean in to catch it. When it came time to settle the bill, the girl unfolded a handful of crumpled bills and coins, still nearly $2 short. Her cheeks burned red with embarrassment. "It's all right," Kara said gently. "We offer a student discount." She covered the gap herself and even slipped in a warm glass of milk beside the sandwich. "Growing bones need calcium," she added with a wink. The girl didn't speak but ate every bite, her eyes flicking to the door now and then like she was waiting or hiding. For the next 2 weeks, this routine repeated every day at 7 a.m. The yellow coat, the quiet order, Kara's subtle help. The girl never said more than her request, never smiled, and never made eye contact. But she always came. On day 15, as Kara set down the usual sandwich and milk, Rick, the diner manager, walked up with a sour look on his face. "You handing out freebies again?" he barked, his voice loud enough to attract glances. Kara stood tall. "She covers most of it. I only help a little," she replied. Rick squinted. "She's not a real customer. Stop playing Mother Teresa in my place." The girl curled in tighter, staring at the tabletop. "She's just a kid," Kara said under her breath. "I can't let her go hungry to school." "Not your issue," Rick snapped. "No more handouts or it's coming from your paycheck." Kara bit her lip and nodded, feeling the girl's embarrassment as if it were her own. The following morning, a new notice appeared on the staff bulletin board. Notice: no unaccompanied minors will be served without full payment. Staff who give unauthorized discounts will face wage penalties. Management. Kara read the note, her stomach twisting. The message couldn't be clearer. Rick was keeping tabs. "Guess your charity case is done," smirked Danny. Another waitress is snapping a pic of the notice. Rick's on a tear. By noon, the photo had made the rounds in the staff group chat with the caption, "Kara playing guardian angel again." Several coworkers replied with laughing emojis. "You shouldn't stick your neck out," said Martin, the older cook on the line. "This job's hard enough without stirring trouble." Kara said nothing, continuing to refill ketchup bottles in silence, her mind still on the girl in the yellow coat. At 2:15 p.m., Rick called Kara into his cluttered back office behind the kitchen. A single sheet of paper sat on the desk, an official warning. "Sign here," he muttered without looking up from his paperwork. "First and last warning about the discount thing." "Rick, she's a hungry kid. Not our business," he interrupted. "Parents should feed their own. Sign it." Kara picked up the pen, her hand trembling slightly. She could explain how the girl scraped together pennies, how her clothes grew more worn by the day, how she always came alone and watched the door like she was afraid. But she said nothing. She just signed. "Don't make me regret keeping you," Rick warned. "Plenty of folks want your job." That night, Kara lay awake in her cramped studio, replaying everything. She couldn't risk losing her job. Rent was due, student loans looming, and shifts that fit her class schedule were rare. But the thought of turning that child away made her stomach churn. By morning, She'd made up her mind. Kara would pay for the girls' breakfast herself, every cent, and handle it apart from the diner's books. Rick couldn't say a thing if she was serving a fully paid customer. Right on cue, 7 a.m. brought the yellow coat and hunched shoulders. Kara approached with her usual smile. "Morning, the usual?" A small nod. Kara brought over the sandwich and milk, then paid at the register quietly. The girl ate silently, every move careful and slow, like someone used to being invisible. But something changed that morning. As Kara cleared nearby tables, she noticed the girl slip something from her backpack, a piece of paper, folded many times. She tucked it under her empty milk glass and slid out the door. Kara picked it up and unfolded it carefully. In large, uneven handwriting, "You're the only one who talks to me without being scared. I like the milk every morning. Thank you. E." Kara felt something catch in her throat. She tucked the note into her apron pocket close to her chest. In that instant, she knew. The girl wasn't ungrateful or unaware. She just didn't know how to say thank you in a world that taught her to expect nothing. Later that day, Kara was caught watching the morning's security footage. "What are you doing?" Rick snapped. "Checking if someone left a phone," she replied quickly. The truth was, she wanted to see if anyone ever met the girl, if a parent or guardian dropped her off. The footage only showed the girl walking alone down the sidewalk, pausing twice to glance behind her before vanishing around a corner. "Do your real job," Rick muttered. "You're not paid to be a detective." That night, for the first time, Kara wondered not just who the child was, but where she came from. Not out of curiosity, but because she truly cared. If you've ever helped someone without being truly understood, type real. Because true kindness doesn't need to be explained. The next morning dawned gray and rainy. Kara arrived earlier than usual, preparing a fresh egg sandwich to be ready by 7 a.m. sharp. But 7 o'clock came and went. No yellow coat. By 7:30, Kara was checking the door every few minutes, worry twisting in her gut. Had her interaction with Rick frightened the girl away? Was she ill? Or worse, had something happened? At 8:15, the energy inside the diner shifted without warning. Conversations halted mid-sentence as a sleek black SUV with darkened windows came to a stop directly in front of the entrance. Two men in dark suits stepped out first, scanning the surroundings before opening the rear door. A tall man in a flawlessly tailored black suit exited next. He didn't shout or gesture, but his presence was impossible to ignore. Quiet power in motion. Two more suited men surrounded him as he walked inside. The breakfast crowd went silent. Forks stopped midair. Rick came rushing out of the back, eyes widening at the sight. He hurried over, tugging his shirt straight. "Good morning, sir. Welcome to Morning Fork. What can we do for you?" The man's eyes, observant and weary at the edges, moved over the room. He didn't respond to Rick's greeting. "I'm looking for whoever's been helping my daughter," he said, his voice calm and even, revealing nothing of his mood. Kara froze at the coffee station, still holding the pitcher. The four bodyguards spaced themselves out around the room, alert but composed. Rick's smile faded. "I'm sorry. I'm not sure what you mean." "My daughter," the man said again clearly. "She's 10. Yellow coat? She's been eating here each morning." Kara slowly set the coffee pitcher down and stepped forward, heart racing. "That would be me," she said softly. "I've been serving her." The man turned to face her, examining her closely. His stern face softened, just slightly. "She hasn't eaten breakfast outside our house since her mother passed," he said. "You're the first person she's said a full sentence to in 3 years." The entire diner was still. Even the kitchen was quiet. I didn't know," Kara said, barely above a whisper. He walked closer, extending a hand. "Nathan Everett." A wave of murmurs swept the room. Even Kara knew the name. Nathan Everett, tech magnate and philanthropist, occasionally on magazine covers. "My daughter's name is Sophie," he continued. "After the accident, she developed selective mutism. We tried therapy, medication, everything. Nothing worked. Then yesterday, she handed her tutor a note about a kind waitress." He pulled a folded note from his jacket pocket. Kara recognized it as the one she'd found under the milk glass. "This is the first time she's reached out to anyone," Nathan said, voice wavering slightly. "I had to meet you." Rick stepped forward again, suddenly upbeat. "Mr. Everett, let me assure you, we're honored to serve your daughter. In fact, I personally asked Miss Whitmore to give her extra attention." Nathan's expression changed. "Interesting. Because my team ran a review before I walked in. They overheard very different comments from your staff." Rick's face went pale. "Where's Sophie today?" Kara asked, concern overriding her shock. "She's home, resting. Caught a cold," Nathan replied. "She was upset about missing her breakfast here." He turned back to Rick, tone steady but sharp. "I'm not here for apologies. I'm here for people like her." He nodded toward Kara. "To join my team." From his pocket, he retrieved a business card and held it out. "Miss Whitmore, if you're open to it, I'd like to finance your own cafe." Kara took the card, blinking back tears. I don't understand." "You treated my daughter with kindness when no one else saw her," Nathan replied simply. "Now I want to repay that." The door chimed behind them. A small figure in a yellow coat walked in, followed by an older woman, her caregiver. No longer nameless, no longer just the girl, Sophie approached slowly. For the first time, she met Kara's gaze. "Will you still have egg sandwiches?" she asked, her voice small but steady. Kara knelt, eyes brimming. "Every single day, if that's what you want." Sophie smiled, a fragile, fleeting smile, but genuine. "If you believe kindness is understood even when words aren't spoken, type heard." 1 month later, C and S Mornings opened 6 blocks from Morning Fork Diner. The name, inspired by Kara and Sophie, adorned a cozy new cafe filled with soft lighting, welcoming seats, and a special section for school kids. A modest sign on the wall read, "No child turned away. All students welcome." Kara insisted on keeping prices fair and included a suspended meal system. Customers could prepay for someone in need. Sophie came daily before school, her yellow coat now accompanied by a small apron embroidered with the cafe's name. She didn't speak much, but she helped arrange napkins and wrote the specials in her improving handwriting. Sometimes Nathan joined them, working on his laptop as Sophie helped Kara. Other times, a car picked her up after breakfast, always leaving behind a generous tip and a note. Rick had sent a long email, full of apologies and offering Kara her old job back, with a raise. She never replied. Many former Morning Fork regulars now ate at C&S Mornings. Even Martin, the veteran line cook, joined Kara's team, bringing along his famous hash browns. Local news got wind of the story. Reporters requested interviews. Kara declined most but made one simple statement. "I didn't do anything special. I just refused to overlook a kid who needed to be noticed." When pressed about Nathan Everett's involvement or funding, Kara only smiled. "This isn't about money," she said. "It's about building a place where kindness is normal, not rare." Some afternoons, Kara would catch Sophie watching her quietly. The girl was changing, not in dramatic ways, but in quiet, meaningful moments. She began greeting customers with little nods, whispered a few things to Kara about the muffins, started journaling. One day, Sophie arrived with a carefully wrapped bundle. Inside was a framed photo, her, smiling gently, holding an egg sandwich. Below it, in her handwriting, "Thank you for the milk when I was thirsty, and the kindness when I was hungry." Kara hung it behind the counter, a quiet reminder that the most powerful acts of compassion often go unseen. Subscribe to keep their quiet stories alive. Not all heroes want attention. Some people need wealth. Some seek fame. But others just need one warm glass of milk each morning to face grief no one else can see. Kara never knew who Sophie was at first, but she understood that silence can be a scream for help. Not everyone needs praise. Some people just need permission to care, in a world that only listens to noise. Remember to listen for the softest voices,